99.3 FM presented by St. Barnabas, 1230 WBBP, 1460 WMBA. Streaming live on Facebook right now. We've changed the set and we've changed the characters. If you're listening, I'll introduce them, let them introduce themselves. If you're watching, you've already caught on. I'm going to work from my right to left, so I'm going to start with Lou. Lou Bellotti is with me. What is your title? Did I just ask you this question like a minute and a half ago?
I am the president of the Beaver County Corporation for Economic Development.
Okay, and next to Lou is Charles McJ. You and I have met before. You run Beaver Falls, I heard.
I'm a part of Beaver Falls. Yes, I'm the city manager.
You're the city manager of Beaver Falls. And Bethany, who are you representing? Because I've seen you come in and speak for different groups. It's a wonderful life that you're leading. It's a contributing life, but a lot of business cards. Who are you representing today?
Today, I am the Director of Community Development for the City of Beaver Falls. I am a shared executive with the Council of Governments for the county, but today I am fully Beaver Falls.
Okay, well, that's what we're going to talk about. I looked it up and I tried to understand it, and I don't, and I learned a long time ago, when you have access to people that get it, ask them. What is an innovation hub, first off?
So an innovation hub, particularly this one, is a center for entrepreneurship and innovation. So that where people that need a shared space to be able to start a business, to be able to get a hold of the technology they need to start and grow a business, they can have one location to go to where it doesn't cost them. They don't have to go out and get a space. They have a shared space that they can come into. And so that's the design of it. It has been going on, I guess, for several years, and they were having problem finding real estate, and so the CED decided that we were going to come in and help where we could, and we decided to go ahead and buy that piece of real estate across the street.
Okay, the piece of real estate across the street. Mick, I knew something big was going. We could hear it getting flattened out right next to the library on 7th Avenue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's flattened. At this point, that's flattened out. School me up on bureaucracy. How long did it take to get the approval to go in there with bulldozers?
Like you said, bureaucracy is the operating word there. But I think once we worked our way through a lot of that and had some real good meetings with different agencies, we were able to get that moving. So we're real excited. We just did our final walkthrough for phase 1 portion of it. I don't know if you've seen the great concrete work and the steps as we get ready to lay the foundation and infrastructure. So we're real excited about that because as part of Lou's project that we've been working with as well, that's part of our greater project is the Innovation Corridor area, which we identified through 11th Street to 16th Street here in town. And so we're real excited about that and having Lou and CED as a part of that Innovation Corridor.
All right, you mentioned phase 1. Bethany, how many phases are there? Or does that get added on as you figure the need shows up?
Yeah, that's a good question. So right now there are 2 planned phases. Right now is the horizontal phase, is what we keep saying, everything kind of tearing it down and building it back up to the horizontal level. And phase 2 will be vertical, so doing the plantings and the trees and the lights and all those kind of things in phase 2. And so we're waiting to hear on one more grant to see when we can get started on phase 2, but we're pretty excited to get that work done.
Where did the money come from to get us to where we are now?
We applied to a grant through the Community Development Program. It's called a CDBG grant. And we were fortunate. We'd like to thank the commissioners, the county commissioners, for supporting our project. So they contributed in the last couple of years towards this project. They caught our vision and they believed in what we were doing there. And hence, once again, that's why Lou's here. Lou and I have had some conversations over the last year or so, in particular what our vision is for the downtown. And we're real excited because a lot of people are catching that vision.
So that's what the purchase of the building. CED is a nonprofit economic development group.
Okay.
And so we paid for it ourselves. And so we bought the building, CED bought the building itself. And we are going to renovate it, the majority of it. We're going to do the renovations ourselves, and we're going to then actually lease it back to the organization that is the Beehive, which is another nonprofit, and they're going to operate the building, and they're going to be our primary tenant. We did it because of the Innovation Zone. We saw the vision that Beaver Falls has. Communities themselves are a huge part of economic development, and Beaver County economic development hinges on the success of some of these communities. And what they're doing down here in Beaver Falls we wanted to make sure that we were a part of it and supported it. And without that innovation district designation, without the efforts of Beaver Falls, we may not have been interested in coming down here.
Do you think everybody in Beaver Falls understands the little corner? I understand where the Beehive is because that's where I go and get breakfast every day.
Right.
But you've got Beehive and Tiger Paws and all of that. Without that, would this project have been able to take flight? Because you said the Beehive is going to, once we get past phase 2 and everything's built up, that's the first tenant?
Well, yeah, and so no, I don't think everybody may understand the importance of what you're doing here. I worked regionally for 17 years. I did projects like these in other localities, and the one specifically that I've done is called the Corner. It's in New Kensington, and what they've been able to do there, it is entice business and private investment into the community, and I see Beaver Falls has much better bones. No offense, New Kensington, if anybody's born there, but has much better bones than New Kensington did. And I think this sort of investment, I think you're going to see, in fact, I'm almost positive of it, or we wouldn't be investing in it. You're going to see some great things happening in the downtown here in the next few years.
You know, if I could add, Ed, can you explain the Beehive? Because I think you're confusing maybe the Beehive on the corner here.
It's the place where I get breakfast.
Yeah,
is it
so
not saying Beehive?
No, it's not.
No.
If you could clarify.
So the Beehive
Is your Beehive going to offer breakfast?
No. we might have a community kitchen, however, in the back. So we're looking
There
at
you
a
go.
community kitchen in the
Okay.
back. So the Beehive actually is a partnership between primarily the Penn State Beaver,
Okay.
Geneva, and some community college. And they're coming together for a location to do programming that allows, that helps entrepreneurs start business. So it's totally different than, it's a shared space. The reason that we do that is that, the reason that we're so interested in that is because economic development has really 3 sort of basic arms. The first arm is you have to start the business, the second arm is you keep them and grow them, and the third arm is you attract them. Beaver County's entrepreneurial system, entrepreneurial support system, is not where it should be. And a place, the Beehive itself is a nonprofit group dedicated to that, to bringing that human infrastructure and putting it into place. And we're going to take care of the physical infrastructure for them, so that they can bring their human infrastructure into place and allow to offer programs to help folks who are looking to start businesses.
You mentioned that Beaver Falls has good bones.
Great bones.
What bones are you looking for when you're starting a project like this?
Well, actually, first of all, you're looking for a community that has a vision.
Okay.
If somebody says, "Hey, come in and can you do this in our community?" Well, how does it fit into a vision that you've articulated already and know that you want? And if it is an articulated vision and we know a direction you're going, then that provides us with the opportunity to know that when we make an investment, that investment is not in vain. It is in the same direction you want to go. So those are the sort of things we look for. We look for communities that are active, that have, that are interested in actually being redeveloped, and in some cases, I'd like to say, turn the page.
Okay.
Right, there was a lot of great things that happened in all these communities. That's true, but in some cases in time, you have to turn the page and move on to what's next. And when they're ready for what's next, we're ready to help.
Bethany, is that a tough sell to some people to say that was great then, but we need to move forward? Some people are stubborn.
Well, I think, especially in Beaver Falls, there's a lot of pride in the history of the place, know,
Right.
and I think one of the things that I learned as I moved into the area, I'm from the eastern side of the state originally, and when I moved here,
You're not from Philly, are you?
I'm from outside of Philadelphia.
I'll give you that. Okay. All right, go ahead.
And so when I came in, it was one of the challenges, but it was also one of the endearing things about the place is that people really care about their community. They know where their town lines are. They have a strong identity with their school district and all that kind of stuff. And so to look back is a hope in a different direction than what we had hoped to do, kind of through the work that we're doing now at the city government level of saying, what we had was wonderful and we can honor that, but we don't think that kind of industry is going to come back to Beaver Falls. And so we need to bring in a more diverse economic structure. We can't put all of our eggs in the basket of industry right now. What we need to be leaning into is innovation and entrepreneurship. these small businesses that are going to come out of this innovation hub will help to stabilize our economy. So if one of them, closes after a few years or something like that, it's not going to dip our economy the same way that the big collapse of industry happened before. And so over the last 10 years, one of the things that we have been saying at the city level has been there's hope in a future in Beaver Falls. And I do feel like the organizations and the community members are on board with that. It's not that we're getting rid of our past or dishonoring what we had, back when we were at the height of our economy. But I think people are really looking forward to the future of saying there's something new here that can be really exciting and hopeful. And that's been infectious. Our community has been buzzing with energy over the last 10 years as we've looked towards hopeful new things.
Mick, is entrepreneurship going to the forefront because of COVID? Are people saying, you know what, I don't want to do that, I want to do my thing? And is that helping grow the concepts that we're talking about here?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think as we were talking about, Lou talked about turning the page. One of the terms I use over the city building a lot is that was then, this is now. Like Bethany just spoke about, we respect the past, but we have to start planning for a different future. So that's the framework we've been laying down. And then also internally, we worked on our internal structures on how we become more encouraging to business to come to town and create entrepreneurship in the city. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I get my phone rings 2 or 3 times a week, if not, that there's interest in someone wanting to bring business here.
What kind of businesses?
Well, I was just walking down the street right next to on the other side of the lot where Renee Soar's going to be building her building. Mm-hmm. There's a new shop that's opening there. I believe it's going to be like, I think they're going to be doing like hair, eyelashes,
okay. A salon.
Retail, salon type stuff. So that's great stuff for us. And then let alone, once again, with Renee's project, we just had another developer bought a nice section of 16th Street, the corner lot there. He wants to build on that as well. So we have all kinds. We have a hair salon that just come into town on College Hill recently. They moved from out of the area. So yeah, we're real encouraged with the type of interest we're getting.
Lou, is it a little bit tougher south to talk about I don't want to say we're going to use small things to build that bridge. But do you have people say, well, don't worry about that, let's just get big industry to come in here? When people say that, what's your response to that? I'm thinking of more cracker plants. Let's get more cracker plants.
Generally what I say to that is we'll keep looking for them.
Yeah.
But that's a meteor strike. Okay, so
okay.
In my business and economic development, you prepare yourself for the meteor strike. But when they come along, few and far between.
You can't depend on it.
No, you can't depend on it. And they wouldn't come here unless, places like that don't come here unless they see an opportunity that the folks that will work there will have. And that's what you see. You see that they know that there are great communities here that allow them to participate in the community. It allows their workers to have a good, stable life to live in a great community, so that's why they look here. I do get that all the time. When's the next cracker plant coming?
Right.
How come Amazon's not coming here? And so we work through that on a regular basis, and we explain to folks that we are preparing for those. We understand them, but the real key to economic development is to grow your own. It literally is start your own businesses, grow your businesses, keep them when you can. So if you spend more time, and I've seen this happen in other places, and we're not going to do this in Beaver County and in Beaver Falls, is where you spend more time trying to attract new companies and you ignore the ones that are here. Mm-hmm. And that's a recipe for failure. You spend a lot of time with your companies that are here, you find out what their needs are, and you do the best that you can to serve their needs and grow them, and you're going to be very successful as an area. And that's what we're doing here. That's what we're shooting for.
I think of the Business 101, it's 4 or 5 times more expensive to get a client than to keep a client.
Yes, and it's hard to attract them. You spend a lot of money on marketing, and you may get 1 or 2 bites.
A nickel on the dollar coming back. Bethany, what do small businesses want when you approach them and say, downtown Beaver Falls would be a good place? What do they say? Well, do you have this, and do you have this, and what about this? What's the wish list to get people to consider making the jump?
We actually don't do a lot of going out and recruiting businesses, but as we've talked to businesses who are interested in coming here,
Right.
we talk a lot about the culture of business in the community, the camaraderie among our businesses. We have a business district authority that works hard at building meet and greets and other events to be able to have kind of mutual support among business owners here. They do collaborative marketing. But what we've really focused on has been becoming a magnetic place. That we don't actually have to we don't have to go chase people,
Okay.
but people will be drawn to a healthy community. And so if we have all of the structures in place here to support our businesses and to make sure that once they're interested, it's easy to get located here, that we help them overcome some of the hurdles. We established a business team within the city building so that if you're interested in coming in, you're not hit with a list of what you can and cannot do. You're meeting with Mick and I to talk about what your dreams are, what your hopes are, how you hope to impact the community, and we help you work through the process of local government because we know that can be a big barrier to businesses. And so some of that, building community before you even move in is really important to us here.
Mick, how naive are people? And I don't mean that in a negative way. If I decide I want to start a business, I want to be in downtown Beaver Falls. Now what? Are people, do they make bigger issues in their head than they're going to need to deal with do they make assumptions that it's going to be huge paperwork, red tape? How do you talk people down off of that?
Well, as Bethany stated, we have a business team, and that was one of our biggest problems why a lot of businesses cut and run is because they were met with a lot of zoning and planning, and it was just became very, I remember one of the first meetings I had with our code department, I said, okay, start me from A to Z, how do you start a business? And I was just like, I'm confused in the minutia of bureaucracy and so hence that's why we created this opportunity for people to sit with us and we walk them through those paces. But to answer your question, I think I'm a member of the chamber, Beaver County Chamber Board, and Lou will probably speak to that as well, but the chamber is actually also considering moving some of their operations here as well, which is very significant, being that chamber actually started in Beaver Falls some 50-something years ago. So that's a very good point for us to make as well. But I think the biggest thing is, hence the Beehive and Innovation Hub type training, that prepares people for business plans, because a lot of people, they might have a vision or a dream, but they don't have the knowledge or the background to know how to run a business.
And it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, very, especially when you start getting into taxes and you got to learn how to...
And zoning.
Yeah, setting up budgets and such like that.
Yep.
All right. Bethany Williams and Lou Velati and Mick Jones are my guests. We're talking about the Innovation Hub and the revitalization of downtown Beaver Falls. I've got more questions. I'll throw those at you and let you answer them much more clearly than I asked them. News first on Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
Whatever temperatures this winter brings, your friendly and knowledgeable Bryant dealer is ready to help. Your dealer is committed to achieving a high level of training and skills and backed by outstanding products from one of the industry's most trusted names. Whatever your heating needs, your local Bryant dealer will do whatever it takes for your family's comfort.
Schedule an appointment today by calling Beaver Valley Sheet Metal at 724-775-7300 or by visiting bdsm1.com. PA number 3285. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Keeping up with your busy life, getting you there on time.
Want to save more money? Discover the benefits of public transportation with BCTA. Public transportation's overall effects save the United States 4.2 billion gallons of gas annually. A household can save nearly $10,000 by taking public transportation and living with one less car, and reduce their chance of being in an accident by more than 90% by taking public transport. If all of this wasn't enough, a total of 87% of trips on public transport have a direct impact on the local economy and offers personal mobility and freedom. So this holiday season or any time, get on board with public transportation and BCTA. Check out BCTA's COVID-19 safety video at the BCTA website, bcta@bcta.com.
We know the way. We're BCTA.
It's a stream of champions live from Coach's Corner at Roberts Roadside Inn. Beaver County Radio will host a special championship edition of Coach's Corner with special guests including the state football champion Aliquippa Quips and Central Valley Warriors Wednesday evening from 7 until 9. Watch the live stream on Facebook or YouTube or listen to the live radio broadcast on WBVP, WMBA, and 99.3 FM. The special show is sponsored by Roberts Roadside Inn and Skirla Contracting and presented by Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Frank Sparks.
And good morning. As today's forecast called for mostly cloudy skies, unseasonably warm temperatures again with a high of 52 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County Radio weather forecast coming up for you right after we have this look at news. The Patterson Township Volunteer Fire Department recently acquired a brand new fire truck. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Curtis Walsh has more.
Until now, the Patterson Township Volunteer Fire Department relied on an aging 20-year-old pumper truck, but due to community support, a custom-built brand new fire truck will now help keep residents safe. Fire Chief Phil Grazer told Beaver County Radio that the truck took a year to design and another year to build, all to custom specifications. Ongoing support by Patterson Township residents made the purchase possible. Grazer said it means the world for community support, and we're proud to have it serve Patterson. The Pierce-built truck, named Engine 90, features a 1,500-gallon two-stage pump and a six-man cab. This is Curtis Walsh reporting for Beaver County Radio News.
We have a couple traffic warnings for you today as the city of Aliquippa announced via their Facebook page that the Kill Street exit off of Franklin Avenue will be closed for up to 7 days due to a water main break, which is creating deterioration of the road surface. The decision was made after a meeting with the street superintendent and the Aliquippa Municipal Water Authority manager. Stay tuned to Beaver County Radio as we'll get you updated on that as it proceeds along and when the roadway will reopen. Also, PennDOT is announcing that inspection work will occur today on I-376, the Beaver Valley Expressway. That's the Vanport Bridge over the Ohio River. There will be lane restrictions both directions from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. today, weather permitting, to allow crews to conduct the routine inspection. And PennDOT is reminding you to please use caution if you're traveling in this area. And remember that work zone safety is everyone's responsibility. Pennsylvania is again aiming to put its presidential primary in position to determine the winner rather than let other states play that role. The state Senate on Tuesday unanimously approved a bill to move up Pennsylvania's primary elections in the presidential election years by 5 weeks to the third Tuesday in March. Critics of Pennsylvania's current date, the fourth Tuesday of April, say its presidential primary clout is diminished by its late vote. The bill goes to the House. A spokesperson for the House Republican majority said it hasn't been discussed in the caucus and that the Senate passed an identical bill last year, but it died in the state House. It's being reported that Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro has asked Representative Austin Davis of McKeesport to join him on the gubernatorial ticket and run as his lieutenant governor when Shapiro runs for governor, and that is next year. Shapiro's a Democrat. He's expected to make an announcement next month. Davis, a 32-year-old Democrat from Mon Valley, was first elected to the Pennsylvania State House back in 2018. More than 50 years after his record-setting basketball career at LSU, Beaver County native Pistol Pete Maravich's college letterman jacket has sold for nearly $117,000 at auction. According to The Advocate, last weekend's auction of various Maravich memorabilia netted over $160,000, including the earnings from the jacket. The purple jacket was worn by Maravich during his 3 seasons as a Tiger. The rest of the auction items include his 1978 NBA All-Star jersey, All-American plaques from all 3 seasons at LSU, and the jacket he wore in his 1987 Hall of Fame induction. And today is the deadline for shipping your holiday gifts via the U.S. Postal Service if you want them to arrive before Christmas. You still have time, though, if you decide to ship with priority mail or other services provided by the U.S. Postal Service. The deadline for first-class shipping with USPS is December the 17th. Now, for FedEx ground shipping, packages need to be dropped off with them by today in order to be delivered in time for the holiday, and UPS says check online, and they'll let you know when that's the last day. This week is expected to be the busiest mailing and shipping week of the season, with nearly 2.3 billion pieces of mail being processed and delivered this week.
Here's the Beaver County forecast from 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and 99.3 FM.
Mostly cloudy skies today with a high of 52 degrees. Also mostly cloudy overnight tonight with a low of just 49. Tomorrow, showers likely in the afternoon. High is going to be up to 60 degrees. Friday, showers likely in the afternoon. High is going to be 49. Taking a look at the weekend, showers on Saturday, high of 51, and partly sunny on Sunday, high of 37 degrees. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, 1230 WBVP AM, 1460 WMBA AM, and beavercountyradio.com.
1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas. We're talking about innovation and the Innovation Hub and what's going on in Beaver Falls. And Lou Velati is my guest. Mick Jones is my guest. Bethany Williams is my guest. Now I'm going to have you tell us what's your actual title again, Lou? That will direct my pointed questions.
I am the president of the Beaver County Corporation for Economic Development.
All right. What is that?
It's Beaver County Corporation for Economic Development, CED, so we don't have to say the name.
CED.
Yeah. So what we are is a nonprofit economic development organization, public-private partnership. All 3 county commissioners are on my board, and then private citizens are appointed to the board. We have started in the 80s as a reaction to the heavy industry leaving.
Yeah.
And so we were primary a property developer in terms of property, brownfield sites that nobody else wanted, so we would get in and do some property development and help in those brownfield locations. We also do some business finance. We are an organization that is approved by the state to do all the state loans programs for businesses. And we have some of our own loan programs. That is historically what we've done, but we are an economic development organization, and we are interested in doing all facets of economic development for our county. And that is really, as I said before, starting businesses, helping them grow, keeping the ones we have, and when we can, attract new ones.
Okay, Mick, city manager, Beaver Falls. How good does it make you feel when people are investing in the community rather than it's like after the steel went away, all through Western Pennsylvania, there was a lot of stagnation that goes on. How much easier is it to go to work every day knowing people are working towards growth a little bit at a time?
Well, to Lou's credit, we were just reminiscing, we were members of SPC, which is 10 or 11 county regional area of Pittsburgh, where Lou used to work here. But when Lou first came to Beaver County, we started working on, as he was saying, the primary focus was like brownfield developments. So we have a location here that we've been trying to get on the market for years. So Lou, I see Lou shaking his head, and Bethany knows what I'm saying. But anyway, it's been a bear to try to get this development done. It's been spent 3-4 years, at least on my watch, sending different developers, which Lou had expressed some interest in it. So that didn't work out. So the thing I loved about Lou's vision when he took over for CEDs, he says, hey, we're not just concerned with development of industrial or commercial sites. He goes, I'd like to see us get involved with economic development in downtowns. And I remember that. And I gave him a call, invited him down, and we talked, and him and Bethany got together, and you know, he loved it. Once again, going back to his original statement, he loved our vision and what the direction we're going. And yeah, so it's great. Once again, we're trying to get away from, like I said earlier, that was then, this is now. We have to have a different approach in how we're doing it. And we're seeing a lot of success in the way we're sending that vision.
Bethany, Mick just talked about it was real tough to get going. Why was it real tough to get going 3 or 4 years ago or before Lou came on? What was making it a tough sell?
You know, I think what we run into often is you want that big win. You kind of want the impact of a cracker plant. You know,
right.
Exactly. You kind of want that big, flashy, newsworthy title of something that's going on in the community. And I think really when we shifted our focus within the local government on investing in who we have now and also really focusing hard on bringing in all of the smaller businesses and the smaller organizations who want to be in Beaver Falls and helping them to have a really easy time of getting located here. That was really when I think we saw the floodgates open of people being interested, that the culture change happened, because you didn't just have one big entity changing the perception of the community. You had a bunch of smaller groups who were speaking positively about the community, and it was changing the way that the conversation was happening about Beaver Falls. We weren't just the place that everyone looked at as being a social service hub or being, a place where Geneva College is located. We were really a community that something was happening, and there was something kind of brewing under the surface. And then all of a sudden these construction projects are happening, and you're seeing groundbreakings, you're seeing ribbon cuttings and all these different things. And people think that happened overnight, but it was really a lot of years of saying, we really care about the people who want to be here and the people who have been here for 50 years, the people who are just starting out today. We want both of them to feel equally as supported and that we can move into the future with them. And so that was really what changed the tide for us, was that people felt like it was a great community to be a part of.
How much more valid is it that it's a lot of small voices individually rather than one big voice occasionally, like the cracker plant? Word of mouth carries a whole lot further than the occasional picture in a newspaper. Did you guys find that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've gotten a few more, news articles recently because of all the exciting things that are happening, but that's not where we place a lot of our value. What we place value in is that our community is more engaged in the future of the city. And so what we've always said is that we want to be a place that people can move from vulnerability to stability all within city limits. And so people who live here, who want a job, who want to be an entrepreneur, those kind of things. We want our people to be able to take advantage of every possible resource so that they can become more stable, own their own home, raise their families here, be long-term residents, and to really feel proud of what we have here in Beaver Falls. And so we focused on providing as many opportunities as possible for people here on our main street. And so I think as that happens, the word of mouth is only growing stronger because our community members are the ones building the future of Beaver Falls.
You talk about opportunities. What opportunities are you providing for people?
So we have been working with Launchbox, who's going to be in the Beehive, and they've been doing entrepreneurship kind of training and opportunities within the Carnegie Library system for a few years now, as they're waiting for their building to get open.
Yeah.
And so they've been here. We've worked with Paramount Pursuits as our downtown consultant with our Business District Authority. We've worked with Geneva to provide all sorts of opportunities for training and education. And so there's a lot of things kind of moving, and organizations that are really in their lane doing their job to support community members and help them find the opportunities that they need. We've worked with the Cornerstone of Beaver County and a couple of those other organizations to really serve our most vulnerable neighbors as well and help them find the pathway towards stability as well.
Mick, when you talk about innovation and when you talk about moving forward, people have a tendency to want to say, okay, give me a timeline. When's this going to happen? Is it a tough sell to make people understand that there is no end date, that it's always happening and moving forward? Can you make people understand there's not a ribbon cutting and then we're done?
To your point, to say make somebody understand that, I just think
Hope.
it's hope.
Hope?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have another saying: hope dictates effort.
Yeah.
We have to give people a reason for hope and to be able to be patient and work with us as like we've been working with Lou probably for a good part of this year. It's going to take time before we start making this, Renee's Source project. It's going to take time. We had a ribbon cutting the other day for the Neighborhood North Museum of Play. That project was a project for about 2 or 3 years, if not longer. So I think the thing is one, we're just staying the course and working with our partners and moving forward. And another point I'd like to make, you mentioned earlier about the big splash.
Right.
The vision that we cast when the announcement for Shell took place, we internally took a look, had taken a look at that and said, we're so far on the peripheral of that to benefit from that. So we're not going to count on our future being set by what Shell's doing. Hence, that's why we are able to move forward with a lot of things we're doing, because everybody else was more concerned about how can we benefit from the Shell. We never did.
Why did you stay away from that? Because you're exactly right. This new thing's coming. Santa Claus is here. Let's get in on the gold rush. How did you recognize to stay away from that mentality?
I think it's just a matter of education and studying. You look at a lot of those where it started, it was a big explosion like a mushroom cloud, and then it shrinks. We're on the peripheral of that. I mean, it's a little different if we're like 2 or 3 miles outside of that. We're probably one of the larger, we are the largest municipality north of Beaver County. So we're kind of almost like in a no man's land up here sometimes, we feel. But yeah, I think we just had taken an approach of like our success isn't going to be built on shell, which it's been a blessing to the county. And we had some spin-off. We had a valve company that opened up, but we never really counted on, okay, what can we do to capture some of that residual effect of that? So that's part of our success and our future moving forward.
We really did focus on the health of our community as the paramount. When we had that conversation, when we're sitting in the office, we said we really need to get Beaver Falls into a healthy economic state so that if there is a benefit to be had, that it's because our community's healthy and ready to be at the location for someone. And so, as Mick said, I mean, we focused internally and did a lot of internal housekeeping to make sure that we could be the healthiest Beaver Falls that we could be.
A small win of that is we had the first population growth. Small, very, but we over the years have had significant loss in population. So that's a small win, and it's encouraging for us. Maybe somebody might say, oh, well, it only went up 1 or 2%. But to us, that's major when you can increase your population. When we were the fastest loss of population in the county for a number of years. So we're starting to see an increase in population.
Is that from more people having kids or more people staying put?
I'd probably say a little bit of both.
Is it?
People moving in? Yeah, I think we've had a lot of people coming in for a lot of different reasons. Honestly, a lot of the displacement from the Shell cracker plant when rents rose out in Center Township and different areas, a lot of people were moving into communities like Beaver Falls and New Brighton and Aliquippa because our rents were more affordable. And so we've actually seen our rent prices increase a little bit too because you're all of a sudden having this big influx of people into the community. And so, but what's important about the census is that not only did we get people to move into the community, we kept them. And so, you know, it's not that we had this ebb and flow of people moving out and people moving in. We're now above 9,000 for the first time in a long time in Beaver Falls, and that's a big deal for us to retain people once they're here.
You used the term a couple of times, projects. This isn't one project. Lou, how many different projects does this entail as of right now? And that number is not carved in stone, that number can change. But you've mentioned a few different things already.
Well, some of them I'm not even aware of, and I'll be honest with you. But we have a small group that began to get together virtually. I can't wait for this stuff to be over with, so I don't have to do it virtually all the time anymore.
Zoomy.
Yep, and we of folks that are in organizations that have projects and are making investment in Beaver Falls. And there's probably 5 or 6 different groups on there. And we're looking at they're looking at making investments, and we're looking at pooling together what investment may be needed, and then approaching financial organizations as a group and saying, we're not only in it for ourselves, here's all the projects we have, here's all that they cost, and we would like to help your help in funding them. So go to Harrisburg, go to DC if we need to, and say we'd like your help in financing these, and to show you there's a vision that Beaver Falls has, and here we are as separate organizations buying into that vision to make it happen. So I think there's of course the Beehive project, our project, there was the roof for the library, there was Neighborhood North, there is, I'm trying to think of all the other groups. Streetscape, all the other the other projects that they're looking to do here. And we're all gonna work together to make sure that they get funded. All won't be done at the same time. And once ours gets funded, it doesn't mean that we walk away. That means that we're still in it with the rest of the groups till they can get theirs done. And I think that sort of camaraderie and that sort of community thinking is what makes this Beaver Falls effort unique in a lot of ways.
How much more receptive are people when you come to them for funding? When you walk in and it's not just one group, it's this group and this group. How much
more receptive.
Much more?
First of all,
it's harder to say no to a bigger crowd.
Not only that, they only have to listen one time. So they only have to have
there's one pitch.
Yes, there's one pitch.
One pitch.
Okay, one pitch, one elevator pitch.
Yeah.
We're only in there once, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And 2, it is, okay, so we see what you're doing. A lot of times, and I worked on the other side of this, right? So I was a funder for a while. People would come to us for grants.
Well, that's good. That's good perspective to have.
So I would know that my first question when someone would come to us is, well, how does this fit within a plan? Is this just a haphazard? I won't know that I'm investing my dollars in a place that it's the process and projects you're trying to do are sustainable. And if I know there's a vision and a plan to get to that, I know that there's that is going to be sustainable in the long run. And then you got my ear. Then I'm interested in investing.
Well, it shows due diligence to you also, doesn't it?
It shows that they've done their homework. It
Right.
shows they're committed to it. They have a vision on how they're going to accomplish that. And so when I fund a project, I know that that is a part of a bigger vision leading and taking a community in a positive direction.
Okay. Bethany, how would people get in touch with you if they want to be a part of this? I want to start a business. I have no skill set at all. I want to start a business.
Yeah, you can reach out to us at the city building at any time. You know, we obviously have work hours, but feel free to send us emails. Everything's kind of listed on our website as far as contact goes, so beaverfallspa.org is our website. Facebook is also another really accessible place. Beaver Falls Community is our Facebook page. So if you want to shoot us a message there, we'll get you connected to the right people.
When people get in touch with you, do they get in touch with you wanting to share their idea? Or do they get in touch with you wanting to know, okay, where's the questionnaire? What questions?
So most of the time, people will ask a question, say, hey, I'm interested in this kind of business. I have a location in mind. We'll invite them either in for a conversation or do a virtual call to kind of just hear a little bit more about what they're thinking, what locations there are. And so we'll do a personal conversation first to really just flesh out exactly what their idea is.
Okay.
And then we'll go back and meet internally as a business team to look at the zoning of the particular location they're looking at. If the zoning doesn't fit, then we'll offer a couple of other vacant buildings that might fit their needs with that zoned properly. We will talk through the process if they want to proceed with the original location, and then we'll really walk them through code and zoning, everything they'll need to do, introduce them to different staff people within the building, and so it's really kind of a partnered walkthrough of the process after that point, so after that first conversation.
None of this costs anybody any money to call you or to find out I want to open a business. There's not a charge. Do people understand this is valuable free business advice that's waiting on them?
Yeah, I mean, it's free. I mean, your tax dollars pay for the local government to do the work that we do, and so
Right.
we don't charge you to come in and talk with us about
There's not
what
a
you're hoping to do.
consulting bill.
No, and once you get into permitting and things like that, there are fees, but we do our best to prepare you for what fees there are ahead of you, and so once we know what your process will look like, we can prepare you for the dollar amounts ahead.
Is there any one business that people are coming in saying, I want to do this, and you say, well, we've already got enough of that, maybe something else?
We really do think that we have a corner on the social services market. So a lot of people who come in as nonprofits,
Right.
We often direct them to go connect with the Cornerstone of Beaver County and other people who are already in that world, and to see if there is a need for the services that they're providing. We're seeing a diversity of small businesses, though, so I don't know that there's necessarily one market that's cornered. And honestly, healthy competition drives all businesses up, and so even if there is a business here that's already doing one thing, it's not a bad thing to have another one that's very similar right in the same area, because then you could become a district. And so we've had consignment and thrift stores and antiquing in town for a long time, and after
Right.
a while they started marketing together because they said, come do an antiquing crawl through Beaver Falls, and here's all the places you can stop, and they'll offer food and snacks and sometimes beer, and it's a good time. And so, I think in that way, we're excited to see that movement in. But we do, I think, especially within the social service sector, we want to just make sure that you're working with the people who are already here and not depleting resources for the community organizations that have been in existence.
Has it been a source of pride that people want to, what's the Western PA, red up, clean up Beaver Falls? Because you're seeing it. I live in Ambridge. The main drag through Ambridge, Merchant Street, looks completely different than it did 7 years ago. How motivating is that to be able to look and say, look, this will work, this can work, we can do this?
It goes back to my original statement, hope dictates effort. When
right.
somebody rides through, they see, oh, they're making an effort, and hence that's why you get a guy like Lou and other organizations that want to come invest, because they're saying, hey, you got a vision. We used to use the statement some years ago. For years, government was about plugging holes and managing decline.
Right.
Just keeping our head above water. And we got to the point where we're like, okay, we're going to go beyond that. We want to start making progress for our future, for the city.
Okay.
So when site selectors come in, historically what they were doing is they were bringing people to see the industrial sites in Beaver County and they were taking them up 376, getting them off an exit, and showing them an industrial site. We've changed that. I now, if I have the site selector, or we tell the site selectors if they're regional, to drive them through the communities to the sectors, to those sites, because that is what, because you said you've seen the difference, it is noticeable to people who they want to, a lot of companies, you'd be surprised, are concerned about the community. If I am going to move, if I'm going to come to this area,
Right.
and I am going to bring my plant manager to this area and his family, they need to see, I want them to see that there's a sense, they need to see that sense of community. And so we drive them through the communities now. We drive them, I get them off, take them through Beaver, I come up through New Brighton, I come up through Beaver Falls, and we have an industrial park to the north. That's how I drive them. So they see all the communities on the way through and know that these are communities that are healthy and are growing and care about their future.
All right. Lou, I'll start with you. Last question. Is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't ask you?
I don't think there's anything you should have asked me, but there's one thing that I did want to point out.
Okay.
Because I think Bethany brought it up really, with the nonprofits. We're a nonprofit, but we pay tax. So we're the type of nonprofit.
Just call yourself a church.
We're a nonprofit. We're a nonprofit that pays tax, so that we pay the property taxes. I don't want folks to say, well, they're coming in, they don't pay property taxes. What good is that for the community? That's not the case. I think that what's really important, and this is what I tell companies, is that when I say come to Beaver County and come to Beaver Falls, is that there are great things happening here. There really are great things happening here. You need to realize that. And that you can come and be a part of it. You can help build it. You can sit on the boards. You can build your family, your house, and your business all in one location. And that's my elevator pitch.
That's it. In fact, if you got enough people, you only got to say it once.
That's right.
That's right. Is there anything that you wanted to get out, Mick, that I didn't ask you?
I would just say that we're open for business, and just as we spent some time talking about it. If you have an interest, you have a vision, you have a dream. Maybe like I like to use. Maybe you had your grandmother's recipe for whatever, and you say, "I always wanted to do my recipe." We're your kind of place because we're not looking for big box and big name chain stores. We're striving for more eclectic type, innovative startup businesses. That's our future, and I think that's what's going to be our success.
Bethany, anything you wanted to share?
No, I think they've covered it, but I do think, Beaver Falls is really the place to be right now, and if you wait 5 years, you're going to realize you missed the boat for the movement that's happening here, so don't wait if you're interested.
All right, if you're interested in starting a business, get a hold of these guys. Right. They will help you. Bethany Williams, Lou Velati, and Mick Jones been my guest. It's Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
You don't have to have had an accident, suffered a sports injury, or undergone surgery to take advantage of the benefits of physical therapy from Dale Reckless at MRS Physical Therapy. At a recent live broadcast at MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater, Dale Reckless talked about treatment for the common foot pain condition, plantar fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis is a pretty common thing, and I tell my patients, don't wait to come and get some treatment for it. The longer you wait, the more chronic it comes. We'll still fix it, but it'll just take longer. If you come to see me when you're first getting the symptoms, then I can take care of it a lot quicker. What I do with plantar fasciitis is we give some stretches to do. I do a lot of hands-on exercise, and then I also do an evaluation of how they walk and how they stand. They need the hands-on work that I do to help cure the plantar fasciitis.
If you need physical therapy for any reason, choose the place that your friends and neighbors do. MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater and Cranberry Physical Therapy in Cranberry. Visit mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
They cared for you, and now you're caring for them. Caregiving for a parent experiencing memory loss can be challenging. St. Barnabas Memory Care is here to help. We offer a free in-home consultation for you and your loved one. Why not talk to St. Barnabas Memory Care Specialist today to discuss your individual situation? This no-charge evaluation can assist you with caring for those who have cared for you. Call 724-625-4000 or go to stbarnabasmemorycare.com. St. Barnabas is apart from ordinary.
Are you the kind of person that's a jokester? Do Do your friends and family just shake their head at your jokes?
Dude, that's just not right. Oh, man, stop.
Well, now is your chance to share your good, clean, funny joke with the world, and the best part is you can win a prize for your joke, too. It's the Friday Funny brought to you by Al's Corner in Koppel. Every Friday, you will have your chance on all Beaver County Radio's platforms to tell a joke in good taste and possibly win a $25 gift card to Al's Corner. A winner will be picked each week from all jokes received on Beaver County Radio. So juggle your memory for your best joke every Friday here on Beaver County Radio. 1230 WBBP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, and BeaverCountyRadio.com.
Cooler weather, shorter days, and football. It's the season and a great reason to get to Canoes. While you're watching the games, Canoes Body Works and Freedom can be restoring your old ride to its former glory. Canoes specializes in the restoration and customization of all makes and models to make your dream ride a reality. Everything from lowering or airbagging your rod or street custom to full custom paintwork and major and minor body and frame mods. Canoes also handles collision and general body repairs. Get a real kick out of driving again and get to Canoes. Canoes Body Works, 400 8th Street, Freedom.